Thank you so much, Chairman Shelby. And Secretary Wilson, thank you for your service. General, thank you. And it's really good to have you here today. You have made access to space a priority for the Air Force, Secretary Wilson, and this budget request reflects that priority. And I'm telling you some things about New Mexico. She knows New Mexico very well. But New Mexico continues to lead in this field. In the past, the New Mexico delegation fought to ensure that the Air Force does not cut the operationally responsive space program, the ORS initiative at Kirtland Air Force Base. This program is at the forefront of developing small satellite technology for national defense. Today, ORS is in the process of becoming the Space Rapid Capabilities Office. There is now potential for Space RCO in Albuquerque to lead the nation in space innovation. To do that, I believe we must tap into the creativity and risk-taking culture of the private sector. I think that the Air Force not only needs to change the name of ORS and increase the workforce, it needs to give Space RCO the budget and flexibility to make quick decisions to innovate and ensure access to space. Secretary Wilson, how do you aim to increase cooperation with the commercial space sector to improve our rapid launch capabilities? And you stated that Congress needs to accept risks in developing new space capabilities. What risks should Congress accept, and how will Space RCO and the Space and Missile Systems Center manage these risks?
Senator, you're right. We don't. The authorization bill last year changed the name. We don't want to just change the name. We want to change the way in which the new Space Rapid Capabilities Office does its work. And here are a few things that we're doing. First of all, we're adding additional people into the Space Rapid Capabilities Office. There will be about 50 more people added into that mission. We're selecting a new director who has a background that we think will be a good fit for an organization that's very high performing and that connects with what's going on in commercial industry. It's modeled, the Rapid Capabilities Office for the Air Force handles some of our most important, strategically important programs, usually highly secure programs that go very quickly. It's a small office, and it reports directly to the secretary, to kind of a board that includes the chief and I. So it moves very quickly and under very senior authorities. We are working through what that looks like for the Space Rapid Capabilities Office so that they can have the same kind of dynamic in order to take advantage of path-breaking capabilities and spin them on into the Air Force through what used to be the Operationally Responsive Space Office. There's one other project that Space RCO will be able to be part of. We've already set up a special innovation fund under the Space and Missile Systems Center. It's part of the new authorities that the Congress has given us. It's a $100 million fund for innovative companies to propose new capabilities for space and to be able to contract with them with very simple contracts. We call them other transaction authorities. We announced it in February. There are already 100 companies that have shown interest. We just let the first 2 contracts, which are for microsatellites that will go directly to geostationary orbit.
Yeah, thank you very much for that answer, and we really look forward to working with you on these issues. I hope, Mr. Chairman, that we can work with you and the rest of the committee on the private sector needs in terms of securing facilities to do business with the Air Force. Secondly, the Rocket Systems Launch Program has additional funds in this year's budget proposal to acquire small launch services for the Air Force. In addition, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency Challenge is offering a $10 million prize to a launch provider that can launch twice into low Earth orbit from 2 different sites, with the ultimate goal of increasing launch flexibility and perhaps using alternative inland launch locations. Spaceport America in New Mexico is one location positioned to support national security. and support national security requirements for rapid launch capabilities. How important is it for the Air Force to have a diversity of launch locations, especially considering that existing coastal launch locations could be compromised or unable to be used due to weather?
Senator, we use 2 launch locations, the Cape and Vandenberg Air Force Base. We also just recently contracted with Virgin Galactic for a launch off of their approach is to launch rockets off of 747, modified 747, and take it up to 30,000 feet altitude and launch the rocket from underneath the wing, which is both cost effective and also gives you a lot of flexibility with respect to access to space, because any airport that can take a 747 can launch. Inland launch has some disadvantages to it because your potential recovery zone or your safety zone is over land rather than water, and that's an issue even at the Cape with some trajectories. So that is the primary concern with an inland launch.
Yeah, well, we look forward to working with you on that. I think the issue of pilot shortage has been covered. I also have a question a little bit different there, but I wanted to ask as my final question, quality of life for remotely piloted aircraft pilots has been a topic that's come up repeatedly during my travels to Cannon and Holloman Air Force bases. In addition, recognition of the important work they do to protect the homeland is greatly needed to improve their morale. How is the Air Force addressing the quality of life for the remotely piloted aircraft community? Has there been progress improving retention, and how can this committee work with you to improve retention and better recognize these pilots?
Sir, thanks for recognizing these great airmen who are doing yeoman's work now today, as you know, across the globe. We started on this journey a few years ago, and our path that we were set on was to, first of all, increase the ratio of crew, because what we had built, because of the acceleration of the demand signal, what we had built was an enterprise that was only doing combat operations. And every time we tried to mature the organization, we got more demand signal. So by having the Secretary of Defense stop the growth of caps, if you will, or the number of orbits to 60 orbits, and allowing us to grow the crew, we are now achieving a 10-to-1 crew ratio. That probably has more impact on quality of life. It also allows us to get these airmen into what we call a dwell, which is some period of time when they're in combat and some period of time they're in training. And we weren't able to do that before. And so by building up our numbers, we've done that. And then we've got a series of force improvement programs that we're doing, not only managing them as a talent pool, but also looking at the broadening of this career field so that they can do the business of remotely piloted aircraft, but also get into some other exciting career fields that they're ideally suited for. So thanks for the question.
No, thank you very much. And outlining that really helps me, because when me and my staff travel out there, we'll be able to give them a good idea of what you're looking at. So thank you very much. I have some additional questions for the record, but we look forward to timely answers on those. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.